abundance and independence. The next chapter, these topics we will hear. Should independence be renounced, is the question. Independence, should it be renounced? Is this a meaning of surrender? Srila Prabhupada says, those who are independent are proud. And those willing to subordinate themselves are humble. If after taking shelter of devotional service we become proud, and if after worshipping the Lord we neglect to serve His devotees, and thus commit offenses at their feet, so we will find ourselves facing inconvenience and then becoming detached from the Lord's service. So this human form of life is not meant for misfortune. Rather, it is meant to attain auspiciousness. Why do we always forget this? Why do I forget that I am the most useless, insignificant wretch, to be tempted by Maya to become great or to enjoy? It's an insignificant and unnecessary occupation. If we really want to become humble, thus decreasing our hankering for greatness, then we should follow and associate with the Lord's humble devotees, who are servants of the great. So what is actual independence? To try to become God is non-devotional. So practically, whoever decides to enjoy separate from God, it is non-devotional. But it is the meaning of, I want to become God. I want to become the enjoyer. The desire to become independent in this world means to become the servant of others. Material independence is simply a covered form of dependence. Complete independence is obtained by becoming dependent on the Lord, who is full of eternity, knowledge and bliss, and desiring only to serve Him. As long as living in His holy robe of Lord's mercy, they are known as His servants. Those who think themselves self-dependent or independent, so means dependent on myself, everything dependence, I think I'm independent, should know that they are actually dependent on others. Only those who depend on the Supreme Lord are truly independent. So when we attain actual independence, then the conception that we are eternal dependent on Sri Hari becomes prominent. Any object that is a complete whole is transcendental. Service to or dependence on that transcendental absolute truth, Shri Hari, is actually joyful independence. Otherwise, the show of independence while identifying oneself as the doer or master brings only distress. And is nothing but subordination under Maya or illusion. If there's any question or anything you want to that we are explaining, and you ask, please. So why we are not able to depend fully on the Supreme Lord? This question. Srila Prabhupada explains, we are infinitesimal spirit souls. Infinitesimal, tiny, insignificant. And it is our nature to remain surrendered and to take shelter of the infinite soul. The unlimited, the source of all of us. Because we listen with so much dependence to mundane discussions and solutions in the external world. We are unable to depend on the Supreme Lord. Is this clearly? We are so much engaged in this external plane, this visible world. We are unable to depend on the Supreme Lord because we think we are dependent on so many others. So we are not able to, we forgot Him who is actually supporting every soul, especially those who have become dependent on Him. So we are unable to depend on the Supreme Lord. We are just listening with so much dependence to mundane discussions and solutions. Only a person who desires nothing from this world, who is Arkanjana, and does not depend on objects visible in this world, can faithfully depend on the Lord. By hearing enlightening Harikatha from the mouth of the ever lively saintly persons and the scriptures, we can come to the complete dependent. We can come to completely depend on the Supreme Lord. It's a very simple, basically. Then we are not anymore dependent on the objects who are visible to us in this world. Means whatever we can see with these eyes. We can not depend on the Lord. Do the living entities have independent will? Srila Prabhupada says on this, The living entity is infinitesimal and can therefore be covered by powerful Maya, illusion. When the living entities fall under Maya's control, they become averse or indifferent to the Lord's service. The living entities are minorly independent. With their independent will, they can either remain devotees or become non-devotees. Non-devotional existence is called the conditional state and is based on aversion to the Lord's service. So basically only two independent decides. We can decide I am dependent on this external plane, world, or I can depend on the Supreme Lord, the eternal plane, or the not visible to our mundane eyes. A space non-devotion exists called a conditional state. So when we decide to become member of this material world, it is called conditional state, or a state where we are controlled by the external world, Maya. It's based on aversion to the Lord's service. So those who are dependent on the external plane, they cannot really understand service, the Supreme Lord. Such entities who choose this path develop desire to become God. An uncontrollable endeavor to become the master of Maya is found in such entities. So we want to become, in this material world, the master of Maya, illusion, or we think we can overcome death, disease, old age, or anything what we are running here. Only by the pure devotee's mercy does the propensity for serving the Lord awaken in the living entities, and thus they regain their original position. Properly situated, they no longer remain conditioned. Trying to subdue the living entities' independence results in the development of mundane qualities. Consciousness and unconsciousness are not synonymous. So, consciousness and non-consciousness, this is the problem we have in this world. We are consciousness, we are conscious. We are Chaitanya. And unconsciousness and consciousness is not synonymous, means it's not the same. Because this body is unconscious. It is matter. It is just moving and running for the satisfaction of the external. And we identify with it. We think, I am that matter. So, as long as consciousness is in the body, the body moves, the body feels, all the senses we have. We are conditioned. We are under the guidance of the external world. So, but they are not, we are not, should not identify with the unconscious thing. We are consciousness, only consciousness, pure consciousness. Soul is pure, nothing is material. So, because we have forgotten this, we have not taken shelter under the lotus feet of a bona fide Guru, under Shastra Sadhu. We are living in this material world and trying to fulfill our the desire or the bodily plane, in the conception, I am this body. So desire for material enjoyment covers the spiritual consciousness. For material enjoyment covers the spiritual consciousness of the living entities and throws them into the material atmosphere. Enjoyment covers the spiritual consciousness. So we get a body and we are thrown to the material atmosphere to identify with this external thing, what we experience in this material world. When the desire for material enjoyment covers the spiritual consciousness. So this has manifested or is given to us, this bodily conception, mundane conception, because we want to enjoy. And in this way, our real self is covered. We have lost the connection. We identify with the external things. And we are thrown into the material atmosphere. So by the devotee's mercy, the living entity's conditional state based on their independent will is easily destroyed. So through the mercy of pure souls, the pure devotee, the living entity's conditional state based on their independent will is easily destroyed. Subordination to the devotees is the proper utilization of independence. And desire for sense gratification is its misuse. So if we use our independence just for sense enjoyment, this is misuse of our independence. And in this way we have forgotten now who I am consciousness, and who is the sum total of consciousness. God has nothing to do with this world. So don't expect that one day he will walk in here in a material body. It is essential to become subordinate. And independent persons cannot worship Hari or become a devotee. One's benefit lies in following in the footsteps of one's acharya. One's benefit lies in following in the footsteps of one acharya. People with independent natures maintain different opinions. If millions of gopis have millions of opinions, then there will certainly be disturbance in their discharge of service to Krishna. If you can understand this, then you cannot. If you surrender to Krishna, we become dependent on His sweet will, on His mercy. Fully dependent or fully surrendered to Him means I have given up my independence for sense gratification, running for enjoyment in this world. And I have fully surrendered to the Lord as a servant. And I act in a way that is perfectly according to His desire. Like this example with the millions of gopis. If millions of gopis have millions of opinions, then you're in the material world. It's a chaos. But it is also not chaos, because it's to us appears as chaos. It is perfectly controlled. It is just our consciousness, our capacity to understand how it works. We become dependent on the external plane. So when Krishna was calling them by the flute, all the gopis had the same desire to run after him to the forest in the night. There was one, they had the same goal, to please, to serve him. Then there will be certainly disturbance in of service. No one has the power to please Sri Madhava without subordinating themselves to the daughter of Vrishabhanu. The spiritual master is not different from and an intimate associate of the daughter of Vrishabhanu. That is why it is important for a person desiring auspiciousness to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. There is no other way to achieve auspiciousness. There is no other way to attain auspiciousness. There is no other way. No other way. Yeah, you can say what you want. But I think there is, we are running. Anything clear? How did the independent souls receive their independence? Srila Prabhupada says, we are part and parcels of the fully independent personality of Godhead. And therefore God's qualities are present in us. in minute quantity. So whatever is in God, we also have in minute, tiny, the same qualities or desires also. So it is present in us in minute quantity. So Krishna is fully independent. When he wants to destroy or he wants to take rest, all the material world, whatever existed, it is non-existent. And when he opens his eyes, then all things again come, and his part and parcels coming from in and again there, and they have this free will, and this they can decide. I stay in the spiritual plane, I stay with Lord, or let me try something else, let me. So in Bhagavatam, the description is given. Brahma manifests, and he meditates, and from his meditation, the different forms manifest in a subtle plane in the beginning. And the soul, spirit souls, they see this, and some are weak or somehow develop the desire to enjoy. Because this enjoying spirit is in God, it is a minute a portion in us also. So, but we have not the power to get out when we are entering this. This is because we are minute. We are very weak. So in our independence, there are two kinds of aversions to the Lord. Aversion in the form of desire for material enjoyment, and aversion in the form of renunciation of material enjoyment. Two kinds of aversion. So renunciation means also is an aversion. For the independent souls, there are only two ways open: to walk the path of material enjoyment, or to walk the path of devotional service. No one can remain neutral. Everyone must choose one of these two paths. By constantly worshipping the Lord with love and devotion, one is not covered and drawn by the Lord's illusory energy. But worship should be constant. If there's even a slight interruption in our attention, Maya will take advantage of the situation and cause us trouble. Hopeless. We are hopeless. Even a slight interruption in our attention, and Maya will take advantage of the situation and cause us trouble. But this experience we have not got. is the proper use or misuse of the living entity's independence inspired by the Lord? Prabhupada says, if the Lord was inspiring the misuse of our independence, then the result would be service to the Lord, not forgetfulness of Him. So actually we are all, He expanded Himself to satisfy Him. So we are one with Him and different, because there's nothing existing outside of Him. So He expands into many, and of course this free will or independence is given in them. Because how can you have a relationship with one who is forces you to do things? Free will is given, so independence. But when we have decided to enjoy this material world, then we cannot become member of the spiritual plane. Then we have not. Then we get covered by illusion, Maya. Then we decide to go home, back home, where we are come close to our original position. We are meant for pleasing the Lord, or loving, or in different relationships, or ever has. Then Maya will not touch us. Illusion will not have. So they are called pashadas, or eternal associates who are living with. And this is also possible for us who are conditioned souls, who fell on the illusion of this material plane. We are running for independence, name, fame, profit. And we are controlled by this desire. So we have decided to live separate from Him, from God. This is our mistake we have. But the Lord is merciful. So He wants that we are conditioned souls, we will come back home. But it is very difficult to get out of this chaos here. We are so deep-rooted here in this world. So, without the help of His pure devotees who are appearing in this world, we had no chance to get out. We will become servants of Maya, illusion. And yeah. Anyway, there's so many things to we can in detail discuss, but if you just understand the main, and you really understand it, and you want to go back, then help will be there, according to our desire. But you cannot have both things. This is what the ideal thing, what we we want to enjoy this material world, and we want to also be devotees and never die, and always be protected and in blissful relation with the Lord. We cannot mix it up. So when we are seeing this situation of us, then we should understand that we are very fallen. And this is, when you come to this conclusion, then you start your spiritual life may be supported, and we may get some help. But if you not understand, if you not see our hopeless situation where we are in, then we will go on and on. And again, anything to add, comments or question?
How can we always come back to realizing this, how fallen we are?
We heard today, we are so insignificant. And we want to be the greatest. We want to become famous. We want to become it is also sense gratification. We desire to become a sannyasi or a guru. It's also false ego. It is a trap. We have to be very careful, because this means we have not understood how insignificant we are. We are practically not existing. We are far away from the Lord when we're thinking like this. The beginning is when you become or understand or realize a little bit we have not understood anything. You always take the position of, I am the last one who is qualified. So, otherwise we cannot stay with Krishna there. We will just pollute. They will disturb. Just imagine you come in the association, Krishna plays with his boyfriends or taking prasad or whatever. And we come there and we see what every thought you have in your head is a disturbance. In the transcendental plane. Can you imagine this? So we have to take the position of a servant. This is secure, and we have to always understand. Not like, yes, I'm a servant, but I am the greatest servant. The best servant. we're the last one. No qualification, no nothing. We have depending on mercy of Guru Gauranga. In this mood, our spiritual life the Lord will help us. The association of Vaishnava, proper Vaishnava. They will remember us, who we are. Otherwise, Maya will remember you also. We are living in the world of Maya, of illusion. It's very dangerous. Nobody is secured. If you just put on dhoti and tilak, doesn't mean that you're a devotee. Devotees can see other devotees. They know immediately. Oh. He sees with the eyes of the soul. And he is not seeing with the eyes we are seeing persons. Can you imagine this? Today, Vayu is visiting us. Then we can close this now. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dalila Vistana Shubhava Mandalita Stoda Sichimad Bhakti. Vaibhav Maharaj ki